Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Purple Breakdown. I am your host, Alex, and I'm so excited to be back here on another episode with you all. I hope you had an amazing weekend and enjoyed your weekend here, Saturday and Sunday. I know I did. I was up in Michigan, had an amazing time with my girlfriend and watching a lot of hockey. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the Baltimore Ravens and what's going on with them. So we're going to jump right into that. But first, before we jump into that, make sure if you like the content that you are hearing, that you like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps the community grow, and this is the best community out there. And I love reading your comments, and you guys can get them featured in the long form videos here. So make sure that you do that. And by the way, we are up to 98 subscribers. We are 2 away from 100, so let's make that happen. Let's get to 100, guys. I want to get there. We're so close. I want this community to be at 100 and watch it to continue and grow and flourish. It's such a fun community to be a part of, and when we hit that 100, I'm gonna add some more stuff to make it even more exciting. So 2 away from that. Let's make it happen. All right, guys. We're gonna start with the comments of the day. Here we go. Let's jump into it. So, coming from David, you said signing Calais is okay, but doesn't really move the needle. I suppose DJ Reader is out of the question now. Once again, Ravens take the cheap way instead of fully bolstering that D-line. Maybe they need the money for a center. Seems other teams always make big deals work, and Ravens use salary cap as a reason they don't pick up the better names. I'm staying positive through it all, putting my fandom trust in the coaches in front office to figure everything out and get us to the Super Bowl. Have a great weekend. Thank you, David, for the comment. Sorry I wasn't able to feature this comment in early videos. I was just not able to get out and make these long form videos like this. But signing Calais, I think on your point, is it a massive needle mover? No. It's not that. It's a good pickup in signing, and Minter actually in the press conference yesterday talked about it, and he really likes Calais coming in. He had 6.5 sacks this past year, so he can get back there. The problem is Calais coming in is sort of what the Ravens needed, is that they're not looking for somebody on the defensive line to be the needle mover if Matabike is coming back. Matabike holds that position, in my opinion, and he can be that full, and then Travis Jones on the other side. What they need is they need depth, and Calais Campbell is an experienced player that can immediately have an impact on the defense and help coach up the young guys around him, especially Keyshawn Benny and some of the other young guys that will be there, teach some tricks to Mattavike and Travis Jones, help them grow and experience more, and at the same time can still make an impact on the defense. You look at what he did with 6.5 sacks and what he did in the run and pass rush game for the Cardinals. He can come in and he can do that for the Ravens. And I think it's a big important thing to remember that I think Minter as a coach, and I'm with you on staying positive through it all and putting the fandom trust in the coaches in front office is the right thing to do right now. We'll go into that in a little bit. But I think looking at what Minter wants to do with that defense is he's not going to want to solely rely on just the top players to make the play, but he's going to start doing what the Seahawks did. He is of that McDonald coaching tree on the defensive side of the ball, and he's going to want to come in waves and come in waves of constant pressure on the defensive side of the ball. And how he's going to do that is coming with multiple different looks, multiple different players, constantly putting fresh legs out there. And he's going to do that by being able to rotate Calais in and then pull him out, and rotate him back in and pull him back out. Same with edges, putting various edges in at certain times and pulling them back out. So you constantly have fresh legs that are constantly going after the quarterback and the running backs and making different looks come across it all. I think that's what he wants to do on it. And when looking at this, I think DJ Reader is now off the board too. Calais helps us with that extra pressure, helps with bringing fresh legs into the field when he can get out there. Yes, is he older? Which does lean me towards some injury issues, but I think he'll be okay. If he can get 6 sacks this year, 6.5 sacks this year, that'll be really good for what the Ravens need. It'll be an extra sack count, person that can get more sacks in there and just help get after the quarterback and teach the young guys. But DJ Reader will be off the board because of this. In my opinion, they won't go looking that way anymore. And if, to your point, if they're going to make a big swing now, I still think the biggest hole is the center, and the swing that needs to be made, that needs to be going out and spending that big money right now, is going out and getting a center. Don't go cheap on the center. You need a really solid center and offensive line to make this team work, and you've addressed guard with Vanga, and you have Ronnie Stanley, you have Roger Rosegard, and you have John Simpson. Center is that last point, and you need a strong center to make this season go well. So go out there, get the best center available, spend the money on it, bring him in, and go get a Super Bowl, as you said. Like, that needs to be the trajectory, that the urgency needs to be lit under this team to go get that. And the way to get that right now is by taking that swing on that center and getting a big swing at it and bringing in a big guy, either be Ethan Pochik off the Browns or going for a trade. It needs to be one of those, and you need to take that big swing, and you need to take it sooner rather than later. That's just my thought on it. I think if they were going to look anywhere else for a big swing on the defense, I would actually go interior linebacker. And I really do like Bobby Wagner, and I think you could spend a decent amount on him, 7.5, 8 million, bringing him in, and that could help shore up that. But first and foremost, swing at that center. Bring in a big center, bring in a big name, and have him be that center linchpin of the O-line that allows you to drive the ball down the field. Protecting Lamar, opening up holes for Derrick Henry and the rest of the running back room, giving time for Lamar to get passes out, and just being the best O-line in the league. That's what I want to see out of this Ravens O-line. But thank you for the comment, David. I love hearing from you. I'm putting trust, just like you, that this new coaching staff and the front office is going to get this done. And we're going to go into, actually, in a little bit, that's one of my main segments, is this new coaching staff and the thoughts coming out of it. But thank you for the comment, David. Next up is NTE. You say, why can't it be September already? NTE, I really want it to be September too. We all love football here. We want the games back in, and rookie minicamp is just that little front edge taste of it that you're like, oh, we're right there, but we're not right there. We want it. We want the games back and have physicality back in the field, and watching players just slam into each other, touchdowns, everything that we love about football. But it'll come before we know it, and we're just starting into the summer. Training camps will be ripping up here soon, and more players will be getting back out there, and I can't wait to see them do that. And then final one, we have Ryan, who says, would be awesome to see Lamar go into the season on a new deal, another MVP season, question mark. That Lamar contract needs to get done. I think that's one of the other reasons, going towards your point, David, of why they're probably not spending so much money right now, is they're thinking if they get a Lamar contract extension done, it'll probably soak up a little bit of that cap space that they do have left. So they may be being picky on who they do bring in right now in case that new contract soaks up some of that. But another MVP season coming out of him? Yes, please. I want another MVP season, and it can be done under Declan Doyle. You look at Declan Doyle and what he's going to go hunt. He's hunting explosive plays down the field, starting with the run and then moving into the pass. And that worked really well a few years ago with Lamar when you look at what he did when he had over 4,000 passing yards, over 800 rushing yards, and that combination. And should have been a 3-time MVP then, but because of voter fatigue, he didn't get it. So we shouldn't be talking about him going for his 3rd MVP. We should be talking about him going for his 4th, which, oh well. But MVP, as much as I'd love to see him win another MVP, I would rather see him win a Super Bowl this year. That I would trade an MVP season for a Super Bowl with Lamar right now. That's my opinion of what I would do with that. But I want to thank you all, Ryan, NT, and David, for the comments. Keep it up, guys. If you would like your comments featured in the next long form video, make sure to comment. All right, let's jump into the main part of it today. This past week, we have had rookie minicamp going on. UDFAs have been coming in. The draft picks have been coming in, and just guys who want to try out for the team and try and make it on have been coming in as well. And it's been a really good process. These guys have been getting to experience what an NFL sort of workout is like, how the practices operate, getting up to speed, getting to know the coaches, getting to know each other, and getting to know how these systems operate. And it's been a really good experience for a lot of them, and there's been a few standouts. Mentor has talked about the standouts that he saw, and he specifically said the guys that you expected to stand out did stand out. You look at Vanga and his size and what he's capable of doing. He loves what he saw out of Vanga. Zion Young, he's loved seeing out what he saw coming out of him, especially getting back into the backfield. And those two guys were very obvious standouts. And then there was flashes from other people as well, both the UDFAs as well as some of the later round draft picks. Chandler Rivers was doing really well. I know Jacoby Lane had some really good catches, and Elijah Surratt was making moves as well and showing what he can do. And I talked about in that short I released that Silas Walters and Reed Wilford were making some interceptions as well. And it was coming both from the offense and defensive side of the ball that both sides were making. And as much as I would love to say, oh, look at how great these guys are and standing out, I think you have to temper your expectations just a little with rookie minicamp right now, because it is the rookies in there. It's not the full competition. It's not full physicality yet. You don't know fully what you're getting. You're getting glimpses of them in this moment, but you're going to get a better picture of them when it comes to full training camp, and the experienced players, the veterans, and players that have been there for a few years come in and practice with them. Because right now they're just practicing with the rookies with each other. And so I'm curious to see what they can do when the other players are out there as well and competition really is there. And not to say that some didn't shine and show really well. Again, Venga and Zion were showing flashes of they can compete at this next level, and that they are going to be pushing guys. Venga will be starting. I think Zion will also be pushing Mike Green pretty hard. And so you got two guys there immediately. Chandler Rivers was doing really well, and he thinks he can play on the outside. I would more have him in the slot and playing nickel. But other guys like Elijah Surratt and Jacoby Lane, maybe there's something there. The only thing that I don't like with Jacoby Lane this time around is that he got reps with Chandler Rivers guarding him, and every time Chandler Rivers was guarding him, he didn't get a reception. Which that you're talking about a draft pick right there that the Ravens brought in, and you're expecting a high round draft pick to, especially with his size, playing an undersized guy, to get over Chandler Rivers, make those catches, climb the ladder, get up above him, make contested catches, and Chandler shut him down. It leans me a little to worry there, especially as he comes in and plays the Ravens starting cornerbacks, and he goes up against Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphrey, Cheetah Woozy, guys that have been there for a while and really know their stuff, may lock him down. And not even talking about the safeties in the backfield. So I think love what we saw coming out of it, and this could be a strong draft class. I don't think as strong as 2021 when you got Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Linderbaum, Charlie Kolar, and Isaiah Likely and company. That it's not going to be as strong as a draft class as that. But there's potential in this draft class to come out and show really well, especially the first two picks could really be really strong, and we'll see how the tight ends do coming out of this. And I think temper expectations on some players, that it'll take time for them to make an impact. I think if you're looking at Jacoby Lane, and I'm going to keep highlighting in on him, he needs to learn to play physically, add a little more weight, and not get stopped up by cornerbacks when they armbar. It's going to be a problem if he can't compete with that and play through that at this next level, especially with his size. He should be able to play through that. I'd like to see him add a little more muscle in there and get a little bigger. But not to say that there wasn't really big flashes, because there was really big flashes. And Mentor talked about that, saying, hey, look, there's guys that we really expected to show up and do really well, and they have. And he's excited both by the offense and the defense. And he had his hands really deep into that defense, but he was also had his hands into the offense and making sure that both sides knew the expectations. And I really like this, that he is getting down and dirty with both sides of the ball and getting in and saying, no, these are the expectations for what we want. And I think this leans towards what all the draftees that came in and had press conference talk towards, what was their experience with Jesse Mentor. And every single one of them is extremely positive about it. And that's what you want. Yes, they just were drafted and they're going to play for their team and they're going to, fall into line, but they were very extremely positive about Mentor and the coaching staff that he has developed and built. And I really think he's developed one of the best coaching staffs within the league. It's a very mixed staff between experienced and young, fresh ideas coming in, as well as the older heads to keep them calm and keep the discipline there as well. And it's been meshing together so well, and it's getting the most out of these players, and it's going to continue to get the most out of them. A fresh start was needed for the Ravens, and I'm loving hearing all these new good players coming in saying they're really good. Like, Minter is really good. And I'm excited to hear that, and knowing going forward that the Ravens may have found another head coach that could be there for 19 years. I would love that. Just this time, instead of winning one Super Bowl, let's go out and win a few more than that. But it waits to be seen going into this next season if it'll fully all gel together. I think it will. I think it may just take a game or two to fully get moving together. But you never know. We may hit the ground running straight off the bat and get going all the way. But I love seeing this. I love hearing it. Hearing these young guys talk about their expectations for themselves, the appreciation of the opportunity, how great the coaching staff is, how detailed they're being and helping to train them. And this is something that I really want to focus on, and problem that when you look at what the Ravens have had problems in this past few years is focusing on the details and executing on those small details. That this coaching staff is going in specifically on that. I mean, like, no, we are focusing on the details and making sure we do all of the small stuff perfectly. And that is something that really needed to get done. And just looking at how these young guys are ready to move into bigger roles, and that they're ready to show what they've got. And I'm excited to see what they can do as we go further and further into training camp. And I wouldn't be surprised if a few take some steps forward and some roles forward that we may not have expected. And I can't wait to see that. The final thing I want to dive in on, and I know this is a shorter episode, but I want to talk about how Minter is challenging these guys. And he's specifically throwing the ball into Diego Pavia's court. And he said, he's got his foot in the door. Now show us what you got. He is throwing the gauntlet down at Pavia, saying, you were undrafted. You thought you should have been drafted. You were the Heisman runner-up, and understand that you have had some issues and some learning experiences, and nobody can argue against that. You are here now, though. What matters is you are here now, and you must show us who you are and what you can do. And I love that he's throwing down that gauntlet towards Pavia and laying down the expectation that it doesn't matter where you come from, what you have done. If you're coming from, the MAC conference and the bottom of D1 in college football, or the top of it in the SEC, you are all being held to the same expectations. You are here now. Show us what you got. And if you can show us what you got and are really decent at what you do, you will get your shot here. If you can't do that, then you are not going to be playing for the Ravens. And I think that's exactly what needs to be done. You're not playing favorites. You're being fair. You're being honest. And you're telling them this is what we are expecting. And he's throwing that gauntlet at Pavia. And I don't think he's just throwing that gauntlet at Pavia. He's laying it down for everyone. Here are the expectations going forward. We will perform. We will show what we can do. And we will execute when it is required, which is going to be every play. And that is the law. And I can't stress enough how much I love Minter saying that. It goes into the coaches executing on the details, goes into solving the past issues that were developing under Harbaugh these past few years, playing favorites, not executing when required, not focusing on the small details, not communicating. And I love that Minter was like, if we're going to have one problem this year, it is that we will be the most communicating defense. And that's not a problem, because he was being ironic. If you are the most communicating defense, that you're doing your job right. And you look at what he did with the Chargers, they were vocal on the defense because they were constantly communicating with each other. And I love that he has been doing that with the rookies as well coming into this mini camp. And this is why I'm so excited going forward into these next season that Minter can get this done. That is all I got for you today. Sorry for going into that last little rant, but that's all I got for you today. It's been a short podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope you're as excited as I am for this rookie class coming in and for training camp to continue to further go on here as we get going into the summer. I want to thank you all for stopping by, joining in, and listening. If you like the content that you're hearing, please, again, consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. We are 2 subscribers away from 100. Let's get that done. If you want your comments featured in the long form videos, Make sure you get your comments in, and on Spotify, do the same. Follow, leave a review, and comment as well. Same stuff there. I want to thank you all so much for joining in and listening. I can't wait to make the next podcast episode. Should be tomorrow. And have a great rest of your weekend as well as a great Monday. Have a good one.